Tonight's emotionally drained, but very happy episode of the Bill Simmons podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network is brought to you, as always, by ZipRecruiter. You know it's not smart? Betting against Tom Brady in the AFC title game. Don't do that. You know what else isn't smart? Job sites that overwhelm you with tons of the wrong resumes. Luckily, there's a smart way at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. They find people with the right skills for your job. As Bill Belichick would say, Kyle, do your job.
Do your
Just worry
job.
about your job.
It all works out.
That's it. That's what ZipRecruiter does. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. Meanwhile, SeatGeek is the best app for buying and selling tickets to sporting events, concerts, important football games involving the New England Patriots that they seem to be playing over and over again, and other things. For $10 off your first SeatGeek purchase on any game or sporting event, use promo code BS. Download the SeatGeek app or go right to SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by the world's greatest website, TheRinger.com, where we covered football all weekend, where we've been following all the pop culture stuff, the NBA, whatever else you like. It's all there. We are ramping up for Game of Thrones. We have the Channel 33 podcast. Check out Tea Time. It's a relatively new pod we launched on Fridays. We're talking a little celebrity gossip. You might like that as well. The Ringer NFL show. It is really going full steam right now. Kevin Clark, Robert Mays reacting to Sunday night's games, probably a little more rationally than me. And then GM Street with Tate Frazier, Mike Lombardi as well. And then the rewatchables coming on Tuesday. Me and Shea Serrano, The Fast and the Furious. You have one more day to watch it before we break that down. Speaking of Fast and Furious, holy mackerel. That might have been, I don't know if it was the greatest day of football ever, but it was certainly the most dramatic and inexplicable and unbelievable. We are going to break all of it down with the Cuz right after our friends from Pearl Jam. All right, on the line right now, the Cuz. Where does that one rank? Where does that day rank? 8 hours? Was that 8 full hours of football? I don't have a lot of energy left in my body.
We were so close to both being miserable. It would have been so much more fun for the fans out there. But no, you had to do it. You had to do it again.
I disagree. Yeah, you didn't have a great day. I had a magnificent day. And I don't know who we should start talking about first, so I'm going to flip a coin. I'm going to call heads. Hold on.
Okay. Why don't you let the refs do it? They usually,
hold on.
They usually do this the right way.
I flipped it. Heads. I win.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about Pats-Chiefs. So a lot of subplots here. I don't even know where we start. All of them were either semi-historic, inexplicable, never seen anything like it, reminiscent of other crazy things that have happened in the past, but we might as well start here. The Patriots allowed 31 points in the second half of a playoff game and won. What do you make of that?
I love it. I'm so proud of them. I don't know what you want me to say. There are a lot of amazing things about this team. Like they threw an interception from the 1 yard line and they won the game. They went on 4th and inches, and for some reason their quarterback sneak, which never ever fails, was not part of the plan, and they didn't make it, and they still won the game. So
yeah,
you could list all these.
It was they outgained them by 200 plus yards. They had the 4th and 1 dive play that I hate with every fiber of my being. Somehow recover from that, and I'm pretty sure I briefly blacked out at one point, but I'm pretty sure they got the ball back with 2:03 left at the tail end, which was the exact same time of the Eagles game last year, right? When he got strip sacked,
right,
and they lost. I saw the 2:03. I was like, that's either a good omen or one of the worst omens in the world. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years for the Patriots, which I am pretty sure has not happened for 40 years since the Steelers. So
it's remarkable.
I don't know what to say about that. Brady 9 Super Bowls appearances, has a chance to win 6 titles, which would match him with basically Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where this ranked on feeling like you dodged a bullet after the game, but this was way, way up there because down 4, 2:03 left, and just not the same type of offense that they've had in the past. But all 3 timeouts, I felt relatively optimistic.
Yeah.
And then they score with 39 seconds left. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs are on the other side of the field. And Mahomes is like, really? Mahomes, is he going to throw like a 30-yard touchdown to win? He's terrifying.
In Andy Reid's defense, it could have been 51, 52 seconds left and not 39 seconds. I don't know why.
Oh, you let some time roll
First
off.
of all, I don't know why he decided to call a timeout if he at all thought it was a bad idea, which he should have freaking called a timeout right away. But, of course, 39. With 53, you would have had a little more, maybe decision to go end zone a couple more times. But go ahead.
You go backwards. The Pats take a 14-0 lead at halftime. They were 3-point underdogs heading into the game. The halftime line was Chiefs by 7.
Mm-hmm.
So even I was surprised by that. I thought the halftime line would be, what did you think it would be? Did 7 seem?
I thought they were getting beat up. I thought they can't stop the Patriots running. I think Sony Michel had like 19 carries in the first half. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
On that, but it was insane. I was like, as long as they can't stop them, the run game, they're in a lot of trouble here. But like we saw with Goff, eventually these quarterbacks get going, and Mahomes did. I thought the halftime line would be about 6. So
yeah,
7 was high.
So the Chiefs come back out. They score immediately, and they had left one on the table in the first half when Mahomes missed somebody wide open for a touchdown. But that made up for Brady throwing the pick on the 1st and goal from the 1 or whatever it was, 2nd and goal. The Pats are rotating these running backs. We don't know what's going on. Like James White looks unstoppable coming out of the backfield. Then they're not throwing to him anymore. Then Burkhead's in. Then all of a sudden, Sony Michel has like 24 carries. Gronk, who seems like they should be throwing to him more often, but he's being used more as a blocker. Edelman, Dorsett makes one big catch, and that's about it. And then as the game's going on, you start going as a Patriots fan, all right, if we can just hang on. It became one of those games. 17-14, they're up. They have the 4th and 1, they don't get it. The script flips. All of a sudden, the Chiefs just feel like every time they get the ball, they're going to score. Mahomes just figured it out. I got to say, having really fully rooted against him for the first time ever, mortifying, petrifying. I'm just completely terrified of him.
Yeah.
And what was really crazy was it took the Chiefs a whole half to realize that our linebackers were too slow to cover their running backs out of the backfield, which if you watch the Patriots all year, that was the biggest weakness of the team.
Couldn't cover anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So they started sending that Williams out left and right and whoever, and we couldn't cover any of those guys.
Even Tyreek Hill would be covered fully like 80% of the route, and then he'd break free from the defender. It was a free safety or whatever corner was on him.
So they need it. J.C. Jackson gets a bunch of pass interferences. But then the Chiefs get the go-ahead touchdown on an egregious pick play, which, at that point I was like, wow, I'm going to remember that pick play for the rest of my life.
Not only did you say that, but then you are so lucky you didn't text this to me at this time, but you texted to Hench. That play was as bad as that non-call was as bad as the non-call in the Saints game pass interference.
Well, I was caught up in the moment.
Right now. I'm going to hang up the phone if you don't take that back.
I do. I take it back. I was upset. Okay. I was upset. I said that was that game's version of that terrible play. Okay. It really was horrific considering they had called the same pick play before the Patriots.
Yeah, but also considering that the Patriots run the 47 pick plays a game, maybe you could keep quiet about that.
Yeah, it's like 27. Maybe. Brady gets the ball back. Do you think he was going to score?
This was with the 2:03 left?
2:03 left, down 4 in Arrowhead. It's 20 degrees outside, and our quarterback's 41 years old, and we do not have an all-pro offensive weapon on the team.
Here's what was interesting. I said he's lost confidence in Edelman because, whatever first of all, Edelman with the crazy off the punt miraculously doesn't touch the ball.
I forgot about that one.
And I really do think he didn't touch the ball, although his thumb or his finger's right there on it, but doesn't touch it. Brady, they get the ball bounced back, tips off his hands. So now he can't interception. He can't really trust Edelman. Gronk isn't really getting free. I say to Hench, I was like, oh boy, what do you do? James White is your only receiving threat. I think that Brady trusts right now. But even that said, I still said, I think they're going to score. I think they can't leave him more than 45 seconds though.
Edelman gets going finally because on that play, when the interception happens, when the ball goes off his hands, he gets decapitated by somebody on a block that they don't call. And when that happens, it's like he almost needs to get like the crap kicked out of him to really get going, which is what he did. They go down. Tom Brady just puts the superhero cape on. It's just unbelievable that he's still able to do this. They score. Reed screws up. He definitely should have, whatever happened, they should have had the ball with more time left. I don't know. I'd have to really look at it to study.
Well, they ran a play. The Patriots got that. I think that Gronk play, was that in bounds?
Yeah.
I think that Gronk play was in bounds and took it to like 51. The clock started running with 51.
Yeah, and then they waited some time.
Like 37 or something, 39 or something. Like he could have saved till 12 or 13 seconds.
And then bad kickoff. All of a sudden in 2 plays, they're on the 20 and we get the old flag to stop the clock because they wasted their last time out, the Chiefs. And, you know, it put the onus on them. If they had to play over the middle, they really would have had to scramble to do some stuff. But the flag ended up nullifying it. And then thank God the Pats were in the right defense. So now we're going to overtime.
And maybe someone could help me with this, though. If you accept the penalty, which they didn't, it stops the clock, huh?
It stops it, but then it's an immediate start.
The penalty, and it wouldn't be a 10-second runoff?
No. It's an immediate. Everyone's at the line of scrimmage, and then they start the clock back up again. Okay. So the Chiefs end up. Guy makes the kick. We go into OT.
Now, let me ask you this: before the guy makes the kick, Butker makes the kick. Everyone's like, he's going to miss this. I said, no, this is not enough torture for. This is where I called the game. I said, this is not enough torture for these poor Chiefs, freezing Chiefs fans. He's going to make the kick, and they're never going to see the ball in overtime. You watch. It's not quite enough torture. Sure enough.
Yeah.
So take us through the rest.
Well, it did feel very hookable, didn't it, on that left hash mark from 39? You could totally see it going. And they've had some bad experiences in the past of that. I really feel like we're going to win the coin flip. I don't know why. Just very confident.
You don't know why.
I wish I could go to Vegas with that much confidence as I have during a big Patriots playoff game coin flip.
We're going to find out that was a one-sided coin. Please let that come out. They rigged the coin.
That'd be incredible. And then when was the D Ford offsides? Everything's blending together. That was an OT, right? Or was that regulation? That was in regulation.
The D Ford offsides kept it going in regulation, right?
Yeah, we forgot to mention that because that is
the end of the game.
That's the iconic Chiefs fans torturing themselves play. And by the way, I would do the same thing. But I think that, you know, and the irony is he's one of the best guys in the team. But him being offsides on that, you had 2 different plays there in the fourth quarter just to push home the tortured loss aspect of this. Edelman, the fumble, it looks like they ran the ball in for the go-ahead touchdown. So there, if you're in a bar, if you're in the stadium, wherever, you're celebrating for 7 seconds before that gets called back. Mm-hmm. And then the D Ford thing, same thing. Tip play, interception, guys running it back, fumbles out of bounds. It seems like something good's happened there for 4 seconds, and then no, it goes away. So then,
real quick, I was at the Rams-Cowboys game, and they didn't show any of the replays. Ooh. And I was wondering, like, if that's happening in Kansas City, and they're showing this Edelman thing, which first of all, he tried so hard to touch that ball. It's a miracle.
I know. I can't.
And then
so
it rolls
stupid
off,
too.
And then they run it into the end zone. And if they don't have the benefit of the replay, the fans, they must be like, what the fuck is going on here? Quickly followed by the next catch. Was it Hogan, which they called incomplete?
Yeah. No, they said that was a catch.
Overturned. Like, if they're not seeing these replays, they must be like, why did we even come to this game? This is insane.
Yeah. That's true. Plus, it's probably like 18 degrees at that point. And there was a Blood Wolf lunar eclipse.
That's right.
We go into OT. Brady converts 3 different 3rd and 10s.
Unbelievable.
Gronk.
They weren't open. These guys were not open. Not one of them.
Even that play going back to regulation when they took the lead, Gronk really wasn't open on that play down the left sideline, but that was like a classic old school. Mm-hmm. How many times has he made that specific play in his career?
Yep.
I got to say, like, I really did feel like he was running on fumes, and they really did reposition him as a blocker, and they doled out when they were going to use him carefully. He was great today. I did not think he had that performance in him.
You texted me in the morning or last night. You like, Gronk, they're going to let the car out of the garage. I was like, all right.
I did.
Let's do it. Over 5 receptions is plus 150. And then you're like, I want to parlay. Can we get this in? I want to parlay over 5 receptions and over 70 yards. And a half yards. I'm like, you can't do it house. You're like, can't do this. You can't parlay
the props.
He's going to be around for 15 snaps. He's going to get 8 targets. You're putting it all together.
Yeah, and then I backed off. Well, I didn't want to jinx him.
I know.
And then he ended up hitting both. So a couple 3rd and 10s, and then at some point it just becomes apparent the Chiefs defense was gassed. Now the irony was the Patriots defense was gassed as well. This game, was the bastard brother of the Colts-Patriots 2006 AFC title game.
Mm-hmm.
That the Patriots should have won. The defense fell apart. The Colts came roaring back. And then when the Patriots need to get the big first down with like 4 minutes left or something, it was 3rd and 3. Brady to Troy Brown couldn't get it. And then and the Colts ended up putting the game away. And this was the other version of that. And they showed the stat. They showed a stat at some point during the second half. They were like, Brady's 72-1 when he's up by 14 plus at the end of the second half. And then it was like asterisk, the one time they lost, 2006 AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
so
look, there were so many. First of all, I think there were like 4 or 5 reviews in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a mess.
To a point where you sort of, if you're neutral, you really start feeling bad for both teams. Like, I don't know who the better team is here. This is just miserable with these refs, bad calls, and just everything so close. You got white guys for the Patriots laying it out and making incredibly athletic attempts, and it's either barely touched the ball. They have it in the crevice of their, between the other side of their elbow. I don't know what that's called, or it hit the ground. Just incredible, like a quarter of an inch on each side. And then it's like Brady converts those 3 third downs. It's like, somehow, even with a 77, I think the parlay kids, they had 77 quarterback rating, the greatest sub-80 quarterback rating of all time. I can't even talk. Spectacular win.
Well, Romo was doing a good job of pointing out, like, the funny thing was Brady was getting protection the whole game. Yeah. They really weren't going near him, but his receivers just weren't open. And
Romo
that was
awesome, I have to say.
He was good
Edelman pass. I don't know if you remember that. Edelman
pass. He did.
When he used the telestrator, he called it perfectly. His was going to happen. Gronk's have to block outside. This one goes inside, and Edelman, it's almost unfair that he gets to call these.
Ken, this is an Edelman. It's definitely not a peak Edelman version, but still made a couple of big plays down the stretch. And then they end up getting it. And Rex Burkhead, who I watched the game with my dad, my Uncle Bob, my Uncle Don, nephew Kyle, my son, and Kevin Brady, our Pats friend. Mm-hmm. And we were complaining about Burkhead for the first 3 quarters. Why the fuck is he in? But when Burkhead comes in, it's like, gee, he has no speed. You can't throw to him. Like, why is he in the game? This guy is a special teams player at this point. And then he becomes the star of the game because that's what happens with the Patriots.
Michel dominates the first half, and then you get like 5 or 6 touch or whatever he ended up having, and it was Burkhead. But it's not even James White out of the backfield. I think the one prop everyone bet and lost on was James White over 5.5 receptions. Pretty sure he had 4 through like 2.5 quarters. And ended up with 4. Like, it's so weird how Belichick turns it around. And
we thought he might have gotten hurt.
Did he get hurt? I mean, he was.
I don't know. It was kind of weird that he wasn't playing. I mean, Michel definitely ran out of gas. I think. He in the second half he did not play well. There was one play that actually led to the 4th and 1 that they didn't get. But he had that. They showed that overhead of that giant hole he had where he just kind of stopped and went for 9 yards instead of 10, and then they ended up not getting the 4. The other thing with him is they never throw to him. So I think the Chiefs eventually figured out if he was in the game, he was either pass blocking or running. But I mean, I don't know how many times Brady has done this. I have to admit that there's been so many playoff games. We've had 2 decades of them now. They said we had played 2 overtime games heading into this game, and none of us could remember the other overtime game in the playoffs.
What are you talking? The Super Bowl? What?
Well, that was, but was there another one though, or did they have the graphic wrong?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I thought the overtime in the Super Bowl was the first overtime playoff game, it was the first overtime Super Bowl. But then we couldn't remember if there was another Pats. It must have been a wrong graphic.
Yeah,
Kyle, look this up. See if the Pats have ever played another.
Kyle, don't worry, no one cares.
He's juuling up. He's fine.
Oh, Michel had 29 carries, I guess. Wow,
he did, but he had it was like the third quarter. He had over 20.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's talk about the Chiefs side for a second.
They ran the ball 48 times.
I know. I mean, they did the game plan that you knew they were going to try to do, which was the old, that old 2007 Giants game plan. Let's talk about the Chiefs. A franchise that has not had a lot of highs.
Mm-hmm.
The combo of this and Andy Reid and what a brutal loss that was, and then a couple different terrible plays and the D Ford play, all that stuff to hold on to. 20 degrees. You're leaving that game. That's rock bottom.
Sure.
That's as bad of a football loss as you're going to have until we talk about the next game that happened today. But man, they're going to be back, I guess, is the silver lining, because Mahomes is clearly special. There was a thing afterwards that Brady actually went to the Chiefs locker room and asked a security guard if he could just talk to Mahomes quietly and got some like one-on-one time with Mahomes. Because I think he knows that Mahomes is going to be the next guy. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me from this game was like Mahomes, he's the next guy. I don't think there's any question at this point. Everything he did in that game was ridiculous.
Our friend Trevor, who was John Hamm's teammate in our fantasy league, went to the game. Diehard Chiefs fans. Like, this is the biggest game of my lifetime. You know, he's in his late 30s. And, I mean, that's all I could say to him afterwards. I'm like, look, maybe your guy makes this game the next 9 years. There's no reason to think that he won't. But, he really got it together. Just slinging balls from his hip. He's just he's phenomenal. Outside the pocket, throwing like 40-yard passes. I don't see anyone else catching him in terms of athleticism.
Do you think anybody was rooting for the Patriots other than Boston fans and people who had them +3?
No, and that's why I think when you talked about Patriots fatigue last week, I said, no, that's all that really matters. That's fun. It's fun to root against them, and people will do it in 2 weeks too, like that don't otherwise care about football.
Well, we should quickly, before we take a break, talk about the next game. The gambling elements of this Pats-Chiefs game was pretty great.
Yeah.
You had the Pats getting 3, and at various points, you know, obviously they're 14-0. You're feeling great about covering. Mm-hmm. But then it became clear every time the Chiefs went up, they're going to be up 4, which meant they were covering. So you had that whole thing. And then what did the over-under end up at?
Well, the over-under was, that over-under was insane because that was 56. I think they were both around 56. 56 and a half it went off at. But it was 17-7 going into the fourth quarter. I mean, so you have to pour one out for anyone who had the under there.
That is one of the worst beats. I mean, even if it was 17-14 with 10 minutes left?
Right, yeah.
And somehow it goes over. Not only does it go over, it ends up going really over because the final score was 37-31.
And not only does it go really over, that last quarter and the overtime was probably like an hour and 20 minutes because with all the reviews and everything. Yeah. It was a brutal under loss. I'll give you another crazy stat. Both games going to overtime, 85-1.
That's insane. But I mean, fun. Even like Harry wouldn't bet on that.
No.
That's even too weird for him.
Right,
That's too off the menu, even for the biggest degenerate we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have, I'm trying to think what else. So the over, any tease with the over probably wins.
Sure.
But if you had teased whoever with the Chiefs, if you had done a 6.5 point tease or 7 point tease, you end up losing that one because the Pats get the rarely seen OT touchdown. That's the last thing we should talk about here. Do we need to change? Do we need to change this rule?
What's that?
That you win the coin flip, and if you score a touchdown, the other team never touches the ball. My team has now benefited twice from this.
All right, good. I'm glad you're mentioning it. Yeah.
But should we change the rule?
I think. Here's the thing. It's close. It's getting close. You want to get luck out of it, right? You want to take luck out of the equation. So obviously when it was a coin flip and you can go down and kick a field goal, that was garbage because you just won the coin flip and you gained like 25, 30 yards, whatever. And that was good, especially with these kickers booming these monster kicks in the freezing cold or in a dome. But I like to see both teams touch the ball. I would. I don't think that hurts anybody.
I think for the playoffs, both teams should probably touch the ball.
Yeah.
And they should change the rule after the Patriots have benefited twice from it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a break, and then we're going to talk about the other game, which featured the worst call of all time. Let's take a break to talk about Roman. Hey, guys are terrible at taking care of their health. Studies show 70% of guys who experience erectile dysfunction don't get treated for it. That's bad. The thing most people don't realize. ED is like a check engine light for a man's body. It could be an indicator there's something more serious going on, like a heart issue or diabetes. Thankfully, our sponsor, Roman, has created an easy, discreet way to get checked out by a doctor and get treated for ED online. It's a one-stop shop. Licensed U.S. physicians can diagnose your ED, then ship meds right from their pharmacy to your door. With Roman, you don't have to wait in waiting rooms, deal with any awkward face-to-face conversations, or make any uncomfortable trips to the pharmacy. Just visit GetRoman.com/Bill. Fill out a brief questionnaire, chat with the doctor, get real FDA-approved medication. If recommended by your doctor, all prescribed online, delivered straight to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. Guys, go talk to the doctor. ED is a problem that guys don't tackle, but it's really important. And now with Roman, it's really easy to take care of. for a free online visit. Go to GetRoman.com/Bill. All right, we're back. I've learned over the years never to just casually throw out worst thing ever, worst call ever, greatest whatever, because I think, especially now that I'm older, I never just want to jump to conclusions and recency bias, stuff like that. I try to be careful. This struck me as the worst call in football history that I could remember. And then I actually went on the internet and tried to figure out if there had been a worse call. And the answer is no. For football, no. I think this was the worst call of all time.
Comes up a lot, but that was now.
I mean for football. Yeah, for football, this is the worst, right?
Yeah, let's maybe backtrack to something really stupid I did this weekend.
Let's do it. Set it up.
Understand my anger right here. So some guy back in February bet $8,000 on the Saints to win the Super Bowl, and somehow got 20-1 odds, which strikes me as very high for February. I don't know why it would be that high anyway. But anyway, it was a legitimate ticket. It pays $168,000. He put it up on a third-party site called PropSwap, which is like the eBay of legitimate prop tickets.
By the way, a thing we've been calling for like a decade on this podcast. I didn't even know it existed.
In Europe. In fact, this is how people bet. They just go on these third-party sites and like, okay, I'll bet that. I'll take this ticket. So the prop swap people get 10%, and if someone buys the ticket from the seller, the seller pays the VIG, the 10% VIG. Okay, so on Lock It In, and me, Clay Travis, Todd Furman, we say, hey, we should buy this for we like the Saints. We all like the Saints to win the Super Bowl. Let's try to buy this for $56,000, $57,000, and then we're getting 2-1 odds. You can't get 2-1 anywhere. You can get like plus 160. You can get it plus 170 in some shops, legitimate shops. But even those plus 170s and plus 180s will only limit you how much you could bet on it. So this is a pretty good. We're getting really good value here. Everyone's like, I'm in. Furman backs out at the last minute, so now it's me and Clay. We split it. We're in for $28,750 each or something crazy to win $168,000. So my plan is I'm just going to get through this first game. I'm going to tough it out, and then I can have people buy into this. I was going to offer it to you for 2-1 odds, everything. It's going to be nice. Saints, Drew Brees, 6-0 at home. Jared Goff, don't trust him on the road. Playoff game, his numbers are much different. Okay, go ahead. Go from there.
Well,
go ahead. Let me vomit in the corner while you set up whatever you want to say about this game.
First quarter goes as badly as it possibly could go for the Rams.
Right.
You have Drew Brees, who looks like the little kid. Like when my son was like 4, when it was too loud at a Clipper game, he would like put his hands over his head because it was so loud. That's what Jared Goff looked like for the entire first quarter. Couldn't hear anything. Right. They're just trapped inside their own 10 for the whole quarter. But the Saints are leaving points on the board. They settle for 2 red zone field goals instead of touchdowns.
They come down, score 3. The tight end, the backup tight end, he drops the ball. He could have gathered it, and it could have been 7-0, but they have to get 3 there.
So they leave 4 there.
And Goff throws a pick, right?
And then they leave another 4 there. So now it's 6-0.
Right.
Then they somehow score 13-0. Mm-hmm. They stop the Rams again. And at this point, I'm sitting there going, why did I take the Rams? Why did I forget that the Superdome is so freaking loud?
Yeah.
Why did I forget that this game was going to be Saints 50, Rams nothing?
Right.
But I'm still like holding out hope that if they could just withstand it, because it was so loud, it was like these people can't keep this up for 4 hours. Mm-hmm. They just need something to happen. The fake punt happens.
Yeah.
Flips the momentum. They get a field goal out of it, 13-3.
They only get a field goal out of it.
Yeah.
You would have thought, like, oh, all right. Yeah, it's crazy. By the way, that Hector, can he ever throw one bad pass?
He's honestly, I thought Tom Brady was the best quarterback ever, but I think it's him.
No, but even if he takes the receiver off his feet, his shield, if he takes him off his feet, where he has to jump and catch it, that he has to come back behind the sticks, he gets busted there. It's just such a perfect pass. But anyway, go ahead, 13-3.
It was great. Yeah. So then the Saints just all of a sudden can't get it going. And they lost another tight end. It didn't really seem that they could run the ball. It felt like the Rams were getting momentum. The Rams finally get that touchdown at the end of that, 13-10.
Yeah.
Feeling good. And
Not only 13-10, they get the ball, and the Saints are not running the ball. They can't run for crap.
Can't run the ball.
Kamara can't get going. Ingram, nothing. So, yeah, that's what I was like. The Saints don't have 20 at the end of the half. This is bad. All right, go ahead.
Well, let's fast forward. There's fourth quarter, inside 10 minutes. The Rams are driving. They get inside the 10. It's 4th and 1 with like 5 minutes left. McVay, now I was on the Ringer NFL Slack for this game. We were talking about how aggressive McVay usually is. He's not like Doug Peterson level aggressive, but he's aggressive.
Went for 4th and 1 up 8 last week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, this seemed
5
like
minutes left.
He would have been in my top 5 of guys who I just would have assumed would have gone for this.
Mm-hmm.
Kicks the field goal.
Yeah. I didn't think the coaching was very good at all today. I don't know if you can rank the 4. Like, who would you even put at number 1 today?
Belichick.
All right. But, his 4th and 1 plays were weird too.
Well, he had a couple of stinkers, but for the most part, I thought they
I guess it's Belichick.
I thought he outcoached
He won
me.
on the road. Yep.
But yeah, so it was like 4th and 12 inches. They have CJ Anderson, who I think gained 10 pounds during the game.
Mm-hmm.
He was up to 280 by the time the game ended.
Flame jumper Anderson.
His sweat turns into gravy. He just keeps getting bigger. And when they kicked the field goal to tie it up, I really was like, that's it. They've lost.
Yeah.
But now fast forward to, and it's funny because I listened to GM Street this morning with Lombardi and Tate. And Lombardi was talking about how Breeze was 1 for 10 on passes that traveled over 30 yards in the air. And he's like, there's going to be a moment in this game when Breeze is going to throw to Ted Gannon. It's going to be underthrown. And the D-back has to know to turn around, look for the ball, and he'll be able to either pick it or break it up. This was the exact play he was talking about.
Yep.
And the safety effed it up. So now it's like minute 57 left. Rams have 2 timeouts left. Saints, all they need to do is score a field goal and win. The one thing you have to do is run on first down.
Right.
It's the one thing that is like, this is just, you have to do this.
Timeout.
You have to do it. You have to run it. You can't do the easy screen. You can't do any of this stuff. You have to just run the ball.
The 10, it's crazy.
Yeah, just run the ball. Run the ball. Keep the clock moving. No, they do this weird design screen, which actually, if Breeze had hit Michael Thomas, probably would have scored a touchdown. But why score a touchdown? The clock's your friend.
Right.
Why do you want to give the Rams the ball back with 2 minutes left?
You want a first down at the 2 is ideal because then you can bleed the clock.
You don't ever want the Rams to touch the ball again. So so I know the worst referee call of all time is coming up. Mm-hmm. But that call was egregious.
Yeah,
and he should be embarrassed.
That was a 2-minute warning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then it looked rushed, and it was like right close to the line of scrimmage, and a lot of bad things could happen. Yeah.
And Breeze it's not like Breeze is 6'7" either. Like him throwing the ball over D lineman, who knows what could happen.
Bad call.
Stops the clock. So that's a miracle for the Rams because the way it's worked out now, they can run the clock down to basically a minute, kick the field goal, even if they just kneel for 3 times. And the Rams would have had to have gone 50 yards with no timeouts just to kick a field goal. Second play, they run it. Rams take a timeout. Third play, now I know it was pass interference. Was that your play? That's your third down play? The wheel route with Ted Ginn? Like you're trying to score a touchdown on that play too.
What do you mean? It wasn't Ted Ginn. It was Tommy Lee Lewis, wasn't it?
Or Tommy Lee Lewis. Yeah. That's your play though. You're running the high risk wheel route that everything has to go perfectly for him to catch that. I know it drew a pass interference. I'm not. I just was like,
I'm with you. Okay, but I don't understand why Michael Thomas wasn't open the whole game. Like that guy seems to get open all the time, and
the whole thing is weird because I want the clock to keep moving first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
So if I miss this pass. Now they have the ball with no timeouts left, but like a minute 50.
Right.
So I better know this play's got to work. And, and what happened next was a travesty. And it's one of the worst calls in the history of sports, but definitely in football. I don't know if you can
name worse. Like, I don't know what this guy is, this Robbie Coleman. First of all, they already apologized for it. They already said it was a bad call. So if they call it the right way, and they could have called it based on a few things, the guy lowered his helmet. This Robbie Coleman lowered his helmet to helmet. He definitely got there. before Tommy Lee Lewis was able to get. It was a catchable ball. Like, I don't know what more you could do. And then they interview him in the locker room, the defenseman. He's like, "Oh, I came to the sidelines. I looked at the football gods. I said, thank you. I got away with one tonight." There's everything is pointing to that. And also, so there it is. So then they could have gotten the first down there. They would have taken 3 knees and kicked. And I think there would have been about 22 seconds left. I think that's how it would have worked.
Yeah. Well, none of that happened because they didn't throw a flag.
They did
and
not.
I got to say, great play by that guy, because that Saints play, you know, the way where Breeze put the ball, like, you know, they had him beat. The Rams weren't prepared for the play, so maybe it was a good play. I don't know. I want the clock to move on that play if I'm the Saints the whole time. I just at least get my 3 and make Jared Goff go 58 yards in 60 seconds to tie the game. So anyway, it comes back. Rams now have the ball with some time. Goff was really good, I thought. He made some good plays down the stretch. And then Zerline makes a 48-yarder that, I got to say, the combo of the 48-yarder in regulation and the 57-yarder in OT, Vinatieri-esque.
We were talking about it, and we haven't gotten to the OT field goal yet, but there was no more perfect kick I've seen than that OT field goal. Especially considering the one we're talking about now to tie it in regulation. Hooked a little bit. You thought maybe it was going to not get inside that post, and then made it. And they had called a timeout, right? The Saints to ice him, and then they did the same in the overtime. But oh my God. Well, let's not forget. So do you want to go to the overtime where the Saints win the toss?
Yeah.
And then Breeze
Saints
goes back
win
to
the
pass.
toss.
He gets his arm hit, and he throws an interception. Now, it was kind of, you could have called pass interference there too, but it hit his arm. I think they thought it was tipped, but his arm got hit there.
I thought the guy tipped it. I mean, the ball went straight up in the air. Something happened.
Did you see he hit his arm though? He nailed his arm.
But his hand didn't hit the ball though?
No. Well, of course you can't review any of this crap.
Yeah.
Like you can review game-changing calls. You can't review a pass interference inside 2 minutes, even though everyone in the world's got $28,750 on it. But the interception, I think it was John Johnson III makes that interception. Now, if you're standing
on his back,
and you make an interception, you can move up a few yards, you can move back, move side to side. If you're laying on your back like this guy was doing snow angels, that ball has to come perfectly down into your belly.
It was amazing.
And it was amazing. They got it, and that was that.
And then the 58-yarder. So I thought Vinatieri, the combo of the 2 kicks in the Oakland game in 2002, which I call the snow game. I think most people call it the Tuck Rule game. Those two kicks in the fucking snow were iconic. And I kind of feel like the 48-yarder with the Superdome. I mean, how loud, coming after the timeout, how loud did it have to be in there? Like, you probably couldn't even hear your fucking heartbeat.
No.
He makes that one. But then the 50
is a legend.
Greg the Leg makes the 57-yarder with like 15 yards to spare.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the reverse of the Milton Berle. Like, he whipped all of it out. He only needed 12 inches, and he whipped out like 24.
I think he's like, crazy. I don't care if this goes straight. I'm going to kick it as hard as I can.
It was like a kickoff.
I was like, he's going to reach. We all was like, he's going to reach this 57-yarder. It's just a matter if it's wide left or right. Like, no, he treated it like, I'm going to kick a 70-yard field goal here.
Yeah. So with the Saints, look, that was the worst call in a football playoff game I can ever remember. I still feel like they can't just let themselves. They don't get let off the hook for some of the shit that happened in that game. The not using the clock correctly with a minute 57 left, and then guess what? You won the coin flip and you're home.
Right.
And you have the ball, and it's like, not only did you not put points on the board, you got picked.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
lead.
What did
and
they
13-0.
They didn't score much. They scored 7 or 3 or what? I mean,
I really thought the Rams were better. And I think if that's a neutral field, I think the Rams win. If anything, like the home field advantage and the noise and all that stuff, probably made the game closer than it was. But I thought the Rams just had just better players on both sides of the ball. I thought they blocked better. I thought as the game wore on, the Rams pass rush really started to assert itself. They shut down Michael Thomas, who nobody's been able to do that all year. He had 4 catches for 36 yards.
I guess they scored 10 in the second half, I'm seeing now. But, yeah, no, it's true. I mean, the one thing is I didn't know what, aside from that 4th down call, which, like we always say, like, hey, what does the other team want you to do? That's what you should do. Like McVay, I thought he should have gone for it there.
Yeah,
if it
me too.
Comes to worse, they're on the 6-inch line, and they have to get a stop anyway, right? The Rams do. 5 minutes left. But aside from that, and I don't know what McVay was doing with Gurley. Do you think he was hurt or just that he had 2 drops? I was reading that he was like benched.
I thought that they dedicated the rest of the game to him.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Because he disappeared because he was gone.
Oh, I see.
He wasn't there anymore.
Sorry, I'm not ready to laugh yet. I'm going to be living in a broom closet at a Waffle House, so I got to figure out something.
I was trying not to tweet during the game, but I couldn't resist tweeting that I wanted them to hypnotize him into thinking he was playing the 2-10 Cardinals. Because they better make up a fake injury with him.
Yeah.
Because that's embarrassing. I mean, he's like one of the 5 best players in the league, and they were playing C.J. Anderson over him. And he had 2 terrible drops in the first half and just didn't look right. Bizarre. I was trying to think. We were talking about it while we were watching the game. Like, what? It's like the basketball equivalent of a Game 7 where Russell Westbrook just plays like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I'm glad you brought up basketball because I tweeted today, as long as we're bragging about tweets, I tweeted that today is when the NFL became the NBA, which is like, oh, is it a foul? Is it not a foul? It's just a shame. I mean, on paper, it's going to look like these were 2 great games. They both went to overtime, but really, you're starting to watch and not know who to root for if you're neutral because of all these bad calls. I don't know what to do differently, but
I was thinking maybe you get one time a game you can challenge a PI call, but
anything, yeah.
But they have to watch it in real time. They can't watch it in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're reviewing it, it can only be full speed angles.
Right. I don't care what kind of speed you have that last one in. They could have just someone who was dropped on this earth could have called that correctly.
Well, Sal, Crown Royal is doing something pretty cool this football season. They launched a responsible drinking campaign called the Water Break.
Okay.
It's all about encouraging people to hydrate between drinks for a better experience, whether it's at the game, watching at home, watching in a bar, or watching at Adam Carolla's house as you lost $57,000. Have a great time. Enjoy some Crown. Don't be that guy that ruins it for everyone. We've all seen that guy who drank too much watching the game. Make the right call. Take a water break. Here's my right call this week. I got to say, McVay going for, after recovering from the 4th and 1 debacle, going for the 57-yard field goal was fucking ballsy. Because if he misses that, the Saints are basically at midfield. They get, like 1 first down, and all of a sudden they're almost in field goal territory? Like, you really need to believe in your kicker to do that. I thought that was, as it was happening, I thought that was insane. I was like, really? You're settling for the 57-yarder? What's going on?
I give him a little too much credit. I think this guy watches Greg DeLay kick 70-yarders in the outdoors in practice, and I don't know. That's fine, though. That's all right.
Listen, I just said it was the right call of the week. Okay. I just want him to enjoy some Crown Royal and enjoy making the right call on a 57-yard field goal.
There you go.
I'm conditioned to think what's the worst case scenario if this doesn't go through.
Right.
Especially when you're in the Superdome and all these terrible things can happen to you. So what's your right call of the week?
I mean, I really like all 4 coaches I felt got luckier than they were good today. Obviously, the 2 that won, but also I'm a very, very poor man right now. But I'm going to move off football and say my right call goes to Jim Gray. I like Jim Gray. And he had the privilege of interviewing Adrian Broner after a fight that Broner lost conservatively 11 of the 12 rounds, I would say, even though the judges, they hate Pacquiao, and 2 of them, I think, gave it 8-4 to Pacquiao. So meaning like he needed the last 2 rounds, but I think he won 11 out of 12. He averaged 4 punches connected per round. So, and I guess he won 4 of those rounds where he averaged 4. And Broner saying in the post-fight interview, he says, I won the fight. I clearly won the fight. I was robbed. And Jim Gray points out, like, well, you averaged 8 punches per round. So how could you say you won? He's like, oh,
yeah, that's tough.
Well, you say you're all right. I guess you're against me. You're against me. All right. He's like, yeah, all right. You're 3-3-1 in your last 7 fights. What do you say? Who do you want to fight? He's like, well, I want to fight you because I know I would beat you. And Jim Gray's like, well, that wouldn't be much of a fight, and walks away. But I like Jim Gray. Good for you.
You liked how feisty he was. Broner. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You liked how feisty Jim Gray got. Adrian Broner, always an underrated candidate for worst guy in sports.
Yeah.
He's really unlikable. 100% of the time, his post-fight press conferences, you never come away from them going, oh, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. And
it's never
happened. I had Pacquiao on Against the Odds podcast last week. He sounded confident, I think. Well, what he said was, I couldn't really understand some of what he was saying, but I felt like he really didn't like Broner. I feel like no one really likes Broner.
No one likes Broner.
What we were talking about today, like he would be a great Rocky villain, except I don't think the fighting part would look good. He doesn't step up for big fights. It's so weird with him.
He would also get fired during the filming.
Yeah, that's true.
Seems like he's such an a-hole.
Yeah, there'd be a lot to go there.
Well, Crown Royal reminds everyone this football season to take a water break and hydrate responsibly. So what happens with this bet? First of all, you're still married?
I am, but I haven't gotten to talk to the wife in a while. I mean, I'm screwed now, right? With Valentine's Day, win or lose, I was going to be screwed. Now, if she knows I'm betting this much on games, it's all downhill.
Maybe watch the John Wick 3 trailer with her, try to rebuild something.
You think that'll do it?
It's like 2.5 minutes. It's pretty good. It's a great 2.5 minutes. So we say this every year as we head into the Super Bowl. It really does. Football really is ridiculous. Like it really is. 7 teams could win every year. And I don't think we've felt that more acutely than we did this year, where you have 2 winners and 2 losers, and it easily could have flipped the other way. And it's like a snow globe. You just shake the snow globe, see where the flakes settle.
You know what sucks? And keep your team out of it, whoever you root for. But it seems like my viewing habits. Someone asked me about this the other day. How has your football viewing habits changed over the last 20 years? Like, all right, I wasn't as into fantasy in the beginning. I was more into my favorite team, the Cowboys. Then fantasy comes along. It's like, okay, that and the Cowboys are my favorite team, and throw gambling in there. And now like gambling has now superseded everything. And it's just like we had the 4 best teams in the conference finals this year. I couldn't enjoy it. I had a problem with every single play. Like, are we ever going to be able to enjoy football again on that level? I don't think so.
I think you're in a dark place.
I am, because I can't afford the electricity.
Yeah, I think you're struggling. I actually thought it was a pretty great day of football. It was just weird.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah, it was really exciting. And
I got bummed at all the refs call. Like even the end of
I
that
know.
Patriots game.
You
didn't feel bad for the Chiefs? Have you ever felt worse for an opponent?
I was too busy hugging everyone I was in the room with to feel bad for anybody else.
Think about it now, though.
I got to be honest. I do feel like even though either all 4 of those teams could have advanced, I really do feel like the right 2 teams kind of advanced.
You did bet them. You did end up betting.
Well, I did, but I just thought the Rams played better than the Saints, and I thought the Patriots played better than the Chiefs. Like they had the ball for much longer, and if the Chiefs had stolen that game, I really feel like it would have been like, wow, they stole that game. The Pats had it and they blew it.
I felt this way for both teams. I said these teams with big leads, you better put your foot on the neck, because the Goff is going to figure out the noise eventually, and he did. And they put him back. Like if you're not up 20-0, you're up 13-0. Huge difference. And that crowd feels it too. And you can blame the fake punt, but really it was just only 13-3 after the fake punt, after that drive. So the fact that the Saints couldn't really just step on their face and end it there, and Michael Thomas was lost. I'd love to hear what happened there, because they only started running the ball in the second half. I think these teams, only the Patriots were able to survive the minor letdown from the beginning.
I didn't think Troy had a very good game announcing, because I had a lot of questions as I was watching it that I just didn't understand. Like
you didn't think who did?
Troy Aikman.
Oh, okay.
I really didn't understand what was going on with Todd Gurley, and it just felt like such a bit. They kept showing him on the bike and stuff, but it felt like such a bigger deal. I didn't feel like they were adequately capturing the moment of how weird this was. That this guy who's the best running back in football, who just signed this massive contract,
right,
was basically just thrown aside. in a must-win playoff game. But just in general, I didn't understand why the Saints couldn't run the ball better. I didn't understand why they kept throwing to Ted Ginn in big spots. Like, where was Thomas? They weren't showing me on replays like what the Rams were doing to, take out Thomas and
the Gurley
all that
thing was
stuff.
crazy. They went to the sideline so many times to just show a shot of him without reporting on what was going on.
All of it was
just didn't know. I mean, you see him like some assistant spraying water in his mouth. It's like he hasn't played in the whole quarter. I think he could spray his own water. What are they doing here? What's going on?
And I know they reacted after the Saints threw in that first down, but I'd feel like if you're an announcer, you have to basically have a heart attack when that's happening.
Right.
Because that's the dumbest thing you can do in that situation. But on the flip side, I thought Romo did a really nice job of
excellent.
Pointing out some things during the game that I was either thinking of or I hadn't fully thought of. But as soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, he's right. And the biggest point he kept banging home was this Kansas City thing. Like, they can score 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes. Like, you have to think about them like a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
You're up 15 and then all of a sudden Curry hits 4 threes and it's a 3-point game and you're wondering what the F happened.
Right.
And that was what the Chiefs were. And, unfortunately for them, their defense is just so awful that, they just couldn't get the ball. The Chiefs had to be perfect offensively to make it happen. And, being on their third string running back isn't really helping that much either. I thought it took Williams some time to get going, but
I thought everyone should be able to run the ball today. I said all 4 teams should have someone around 100 yards. I thought just based on seeing the last 3 or 4 weeks from everybody. And the Saints had trouble getting going until the second half, and the Patriots ran the ball well, and the Chiefs did not.
I am, and I talked about this last week, and just going to mention it quickly again. I'm stunned that Brady was able to turn the switch on like he did these last 2 weeks because there weren't a lot of signs of it this season. And I've said it before, but he really did. He did play the regular season a certain way, and some of the hits and plays he was taking in this game, and just the way he just looked like the old Brady. And it's amazing because he's 41 and it was freezing fucking cold outside. And then you see him in the press conference after. He still looks like he did 10 years ago. I mean, he might. It's unclear if he's human. Kyle, are we 100% sure he's human?
I'm sure. He's the best human. He's human. He's just
Kyle,
the best
do you have
one.
anything to tell Sal? Kyle's wearing a Wes Welker jersey right now.
I think everything worked out. You met your older patriarchal family for the first time, and I just didn't want to screw anything up, and they seemed like everything worked out. Yeah.
We had an incredible scene. We were very wary about the seating, making sure everybody stayed in the same spot, stuff like that. But my Uncle Bob, who turned 70, who they came out for his birthday, he ended up kind of moving away from the group a little bit further back and was kind of muttering to himself for the entire second half like a crazy person. And then Kevin Brady had a blanket over his head. And my dad was like, would just randomly get up and walk to weird spots in the room. And it was really like, if you had
popping pills,
if you just, he ran out of heart medication. Like he really did. He was like, I went through the whole box.
Wow. Did anyone make a move for for the door to leave the room before the D Ford offsides penalty was called?
No, it's weird. Brady's been in this spot so many times, you just assume something good will happen. But yeah, the D Ford play is going to be the iconic play. But I wish we'd had a security camera just overhead on the living room watching the bizarre behavior of
well, that's on you. You should have that anyway.
Yeah, maybe to get that next time.
Yeah.
Hey, turn your dream into a reality with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more. Squarespace is the tool for you with beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything. With a few clicks, you can easily make a beautiful website yourself. Powerful e-commerce functionality. You can sell anything online. Optimized for mobile right out of the box. Nothing to patch or upgrade ever. Hey, buying domains is simple. You'll get the help you need with Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support. They empower millions of people from designers to lawyers, artists to gamers, even restaurants and gyms to turn great ideas into something real. Here's what you have to do. Head to squarespace.com/BS for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BS to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That is squarespace.com/BS. Offer code BS. Rams Pats Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This was my big prediction on the podcast with House on Thursday. It's 17 years to the day February 3rd, 2002, Pats Rams, Super Bowl 36.
You were there.
I was there.
Now, I didn't really know you, right?
No, we were in the building together and we did not know each other.
We met a few months later.
Yeah.
Right. We were both in the building. Yeah.
You lost money and it was the happiest sports moment of my life.
Right.
Or one of them.
Yeah.
And now 17 years later, same quarterback, same coach.
Wow.
And
it's the old coach versus the new coach, McVay and Belichick. It's Red Sox Dodgers rematch, right? There's a lot of nice
Celtics Lakers. Yeah, there's another Boston LA thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't really describe how LA has responded to the Rams. I think there are some people that really like them here, but it's certainly not like for the Saints, that was a it's like a borderline nobody goes to work tomorrow kind of loss. Right? Like if nobody goes to work in New Orleans tomorrow, like it's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's a holiday tomorrow too.
Oh yeah, it's a holiday tomorrow, so they don't have to go to work. Yeah. That helps. Timely holiday. But LA, it's like, okay, the Rams are the Super Bowl. And people care more that Lonzo Ball got hurt.
There are some, you're right. There are some funny videos online of different bars.
Oh, I saw some of those. Hilarious.
Really tame reactions to the field goal going through.
Really great. Fans. Really great.
Yeah.
So I think first of all, everyone hates the Patriots, and then I think people are mad about this kind of those bar videos will be going around. I don't know who people root for in this game. I am picking for the line Patriots by 3.5.
I got the heads up that the NFC would be favored unless it was Rams-Chiefs, and it made sense to me. And with that in mind, I thought the Rams are going to be -1, and it opened at Rams -1. And it's now Patriots -2.
Oh, so I win.
Sunday night, you win. Congratulations, you win the year. I think you won 12 out of the 21 weeks, 12
Wait a second.
2 or 12-7-2 or something. 12-7-2.
Vegas opened the Super Bowl line with the Rams by 1?
They made the NFC team favored, yeah.
That's ludicrous. How insulting. How many what else does Tom Brady have to do?
Well, he hasn't won a Super. He didn't win last year.
God. I think.
What do you think? What do you worry about most in this game?
I'm sure I'll talk myself into 15 things I'll worry about. Guys
like Dominican Sue are starting to make big plays. Aaron Donald, of course, is always there, but
yeah, I think with the Rams,
you got your Aqib Talib coming back against his old team. It's fun.
The Rams have some blue chippers.
Yeah.
I think that would be the thing that worries me the most. Like we had one thing. I was like, "What's happened?" We were watching the game, and I said, "This is literally how it went." I was like, Where's Aaron Donald been the last few plays? I haven't heard anything from him." Next play, he like sheds 2 dudes and tackles somebody for like a 5-yard loss. Like they just have really good players, and they did this huge roll of the dice this season with how they used the salary cap, where they went all in on some guys, and they don't have a lot of depth. But now they were able to get to the Super Bowl. And other than Cooper Kupp, I think they're mostly intact.
Yeah.
So, and Goff, I think, he's a little up and down. I don't know if I trusted him, but for what he did in the Superdome, you get big points for that. That was a big boy game by Goff.
That was a big boy game by him. I thought Wade Phillips stepped it up. I was crapping on him all week long on Lockett. And I was like, here's a guy who already had a really good defense. And Aaron Donald had some studs on defense. And in the offseason, they signed Fowler. They got Dominican Sue. Who did Aqib Talib? Did he come over this year? I think he did. I think
he
this
did.
Year. I was like, and they kind of underperformed most of the year. And I had a couple injuries. Talib just kind of got back, but they stepped it up in key spots, and holding the Saints to 13 second half points in the second half was pretty big.
We didn't mention, by the way, my apologies to the Saints fans for not mentioning this because it should have been mentioned. That is a back-to-back playoff loss combo from what happened last year at the Minnesota game to what happened this year. That might be unparalleled. I don't remember. So Cleveland had the drive with Elway, and then they had the Biner game, but I don't think those were back to back.
Right.
I don't think those were consecutive years.
I'm not
but
sure.
This is like
87, 88. No, it wasn't. No.
Was it back to back? If it was, my apologies, Browns fans. But
the Bills had Norwood was bad, but then they got slaughtered the second.
This is like, last year they lose on.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably the second craziest playoff ending of all time. Other short of Music City Miracles 1, and that was probably 2.
Yeah.
And then this year they lose on the worst football call of all time.
Right.
Oh, so by the way, I went through. I tried to figure out what were the other terrible referee calls. The most famous one, the one that we grew up with, was the Mike Renfro play, which was against the Steelers. It was Steelers-Oilers. The final score of that game was 27-13, but it was the play where he caught it. They ruled that he was out of bounds. And it really did seem like if they had called it correctly, the Oilers could have beaten the Steelers. And that was the play that everybody credits for. After that happened, people kind of all felt we needed instant replay.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what was different about that game? They didn't have instant replay.
Right.
Now they have it, and they could check stuff like this, except they can't check stuff like this. Gross.
So the other really bad one that doesn't matter as much because it didn't affect who won the Super Bowl, but still really matters was the Terrell Owens miracle catch against the Packers. You remember Rice fumbled before that.
Oh, yeah.
And they screwed it up. And if they had
49ers,
against
the Packers, right? Yeah.
Against the Packers, and they messed it up, and it should have been game over.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Then the other one, the most famous one in Patriots history, was the roughing the passer call against Sugar Bear Hamilton, which was, when I was growing up, though, it was the best Patriots team we had in the 70s. They had the lead. It was like 3rd and 17. They called this roughing the passer play on Hamilton that was really famously bad in the moment. The referee became like this name everyone threw around in Boston for my entire childhood and growing up. It gave the Raiders a second life. They ended up winning. And it is a horrible call. Like we always felt like the tuck roll call was like God's way of making up for how bad this roughing the passer call was. None of these calls were as bad as what we saw today, though.
Thank you. I mean,
not even close, actually.
Thank you. And I'll tell you what, as a result of all that, I don't care if it goes nowhere, but I think I'm suing the NFL. I really do. I'm going to look it up because this was a legitimate bet. It originated at a legitimate casino sports book. I bought it, and I'm suing this officiating crew for, as far as I could tell, reckless interference of a contract. And, I'm going to have our friend Elliot helping me. Honestly, I might file papers tomorrow. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
I think you're kidding.
No, it's a class action suit if anyone wants to join in. Referees, they're going to apologize. The D-back is going to say, thank the gambling, thank the football gods. I survived one. No, it's not how it works. I'm owed money here.
Well, if they ever overturned the result of a football game on a call, this would be the closest you could probably do it to, because it would have been first down with a minute, minute 45 left, something like that.
149. So then
149. Rams had one timeout left.
Right. So let's say they take it at 145, second down. Third down, 105 plus a few seconds for the play, probably a minute. Fourth down,
20 seconds left. Timeout, kicked field goal.
You're kicking off with 16 seconds left.
God.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to prove all this in the lawsuit. That a kicker will typically make a 28-yard field goal 98% of the time. I'll have stats for all this.
Really bad. Yeah. Really bad. I don't think the Saints should get off guilt-free for some of the things they did in that game. But
as a
really
Patriots
bad.
Fan, you're probably happy you're playing. You'd rather probably play the Saints, right?
What do you think, Kyle?
Rams. It seems perfect that we're playing the Rams. I'd rather.
Well, you just like the karma of the Rams, like the fact that we're playing them against.
I'd rather play the Rams.
Later.
I mean, Jared Goff, he just kind of, he's still young, and sometimes he looks dumb in the
don't
face.
Light a fire.
I know he's not dumb.
Don't light a fire under Jared Goff.
I'm just saying.
This is going right on their bulletin board.
Okay.
What about Brandon Cooks? Is he going to say, hey, I gave it to my old team, I'm going to do it again? Were you worried about that a little bit?
Not really, no.
No? All right.
No, I'm not that worried about it. After watching that game from start to finish, I got to say, I think I would rather played the Saints.
Really?
Yeah. I thought the Rams were better. I think the Saints would have been lucky to escape with a win in that one.
If you believe that Goff is going to get off to an okay start in the Super Bowl and not need that first quarter to get his footing, then I think you would rather play the Saints.
Did you see? You probably didn't see the pregame show, right?
No, I was driving over now.
Bradshaw did this really crazy thing talking about.
Did he have the mask on? Because he's the masked singer, you know.
He was talking about Goff had this thing in his brain where the pressure, but now he's learned to channel it, and it was impossible to tell whether he was serious or not. And there was like 6 people on the set, and I got to be honest, I don't know who those pregame shows are for.
Yeah,
I like they have these fancy interviews with Carissa Thompson interviewing Drew Brees, and there's like some special effects and graphics, and she's like, "Let's play a trivia game." 9 years ago, you were 13-3. I'm like, what? Can you just tell me who to gamble on, or who I should put in my fantasy lineup?
Listen,
why are we talking about this?
We've talked about
Cooper
this
Manning's there. It's like, who is this for? Who's watching this?
Fantasy. That's what people care. And I don't think Bradshaw should be talking about other quarterbacks' brains, just in general.
And then the other thing that gets me is at the start of the games when the sideline reporters, like I talked to Bill Belichick before the game, and he told me, it's like, he's not going to tell you anything. What do you think? And he told me what we have to do, and he spelled out, here's the strategy.
Yeah, right.
I think the people to listen to are like Romo and Aikman, because they clearly get tipped off something. Because Romo was saying at the beginning, they're going to jam their receivers, they're going to do this, and they feel like blah, blah, blah. And it was like basically everything the Pats were trying to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, Romo, he and I were, he kind of said exactly what was going to happen. And I told you that. Damn it. I'm the only idiot here.
Did you end up betting on the Pats?
No,
or were you
I
just
stayed away from that game. I tried that. I was like, hey, let me enjoy one game. And then, like I said, by the end, I just felt bad for everybody.
I really like the Rams with the +3.5 because I just felt like it was a field goal game. Pats-Chiefs, I picked the Pats mostly because of Belichick and Brady versus Reed, but I really did feel like it was an anything could fucking happen game.
Yeah. Anybody
who went into that game and was like, here's what's going to happen, like, you're lying. When you have 2 shitty defenses against 2 good offenses, nothing great's going to happen.
Well, I will say, I thought they wouldn't have a chance, the Chiefs, unless they sacked Brady at least like 3 times, and they didn't get to him, right?
No, I thought...
In fact, Mahomes got sacked, I believe, 4 times.
I thought Brady had an unbelievable amount of time, and his receivers it's really hard for them to get open. That's what made a couple of those 3rd and 10 Edelman plays. He really dug back deep to like old school, getting over the middle, taking the hit Edelman. It was great. It was an awesome Pats run. This is truly incredible that this is still going. It is now 2019. We are finishing the 2nd decade of this. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Speechless.
I was talking about it with our friend Dave Damashek, and it's like, when the Patriots go away, it's going to kind of suck. It's like, there'll just be someone different in the Super Bowl every year. It's like, oh, all right, Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl. Oh, that's nice. Imagine if they weren't around. Like now, it's so much fun from a.
Oh, I like this. This is a whole "you're going to miss us when we're gone" thing.
A little bit, yeah.
This is right in my wheelhouse.
Well, I'm saying if they never came around, the Patriots, we just wouldn't know any better, right? Like if there was never wireless internet, we wouldn't know any better. Our lives would be fine. But here you are. You guys are wireless internet. Congratulations.
Well, the two Super Bowls before they made it were that really goofy Rams-Titans Super Bowl, which Tom Hanks found out in Castaway after the fact.
Yeah, what a way to find out.
It lives on now in Castaway, which is on AMC all the time. And then the year later was that Ravens-Giants Super Bowl. Right. But you remove the Pats from the equation, it's just probably weird Super Bowl matchups year after year, like Tampa-Oakland. That was the first year you and I knew each other. And it would just be this random matchups every year. It would be like a computer simulator.
Yeah.
I think doing this in the salary cap era for this long is I just don't think it ever happens again. I don't see any scenario. Because
I'm with you.
They basically had 3 different.
Like even as good as Mahomes is, and whatever you put behind him, it's still one player. You need the coach. You need to be able to fill it in. You need a little luck along the way. They did it. Like what, 8 AFC championships in a row. They've made that game. Like that's phenomenal. To me, that's the number right there.
And then the other thing where they basically had 3 different runs. So it goes from like 01 to 07. Culminating and they lose, then Brady blows out his ACL. Then they have the second run from basically 09 to 13, where they're really good every year and they only make the Super Bowl once. And they have some bad luck in a couple playoff games and then bad luck in the one Super Bowl game that could have gone either way. And then they start this third run and they make the Super Bowl 4 times in 5 years. So it's been basically 3 different eras within the same era with the same coach and the same QB. But this is like, it does not seem like it should be sustainable anymore.
I sent you a video yesterday, or maybe the day before. I don't even know if you had ever seen it, but I was recording you, and we were at Jimmy's house for a Super Bowl against the Seahawks, and the play, the Russell Wilson pick, had just happened at the goal line. And then I panned across, and there are some A-list Patriots fans. You can figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And then there's you're in disbelief. You got your head in your hands, and like Tony Kornheiser is in there. It's pretty spectacular, and it just continues. It's on and on.
Yeah, and I'm like having a freaking stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kornheiser's behind me. He's all happy. we might have to put that online this week.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. Dickie Barrett's in there.
Let's do your last parent corner before you get kicked out of your house.
Well, it has something to do with it because, I'm driving home. I'm thinking, I was like, well, I just can't believe it. I wonder if like a foreigner, like I said, was just dropped on this planet, had never seen football before. So my recently turned 5-year-old, Harrison, I show him the play, which now I'm watching a lot now. At this point, I'm like laughing at the replay of that pass interference. Like to me, it's like now it's Charlie bit my finger. I'm just, now I could just laugh how egregious it is with no call. But I was like, hey, what about a 5-year-old who doesn't give a shit about football? Let me show him. I'm like, all right, Harrison, explain to me what happens in here with the guy in the black jersey, and then there's a guy in the white and blue. And he says the white and blue hit him. Okay, did he hit him before the ball? Yeah, he did. Okay, what did he do with his head? He put his head down and he hit him. He put his head down and he hit him before the ball got there. Before the ball hit. Yes, Dad. Okay. Do you think he could have caught the ball? I don't know. And then he just yelled at me and went on to watching his iPad of families having fun. Probably what I should be doing with him, but that's it. Not much of a parent corner, but just want to reinforce that 5-year-olds could figure out what happened in that play. But a retired insurance salesman who, blows a whistle 4 months a year can't figure it out.
So your parent corner was basically about you trying to seek solace in one of the worst losses of your gambling life, if not the worst.
Yeah.
With your hoping your 5-year-old would be able to make you feel better?
He did. He made me feel better, and then he made me feel worse by watching the family who was having fun. So it was a wash, I think.
Hold on. We have to pause for 1 second before we do my parent corner. I have another parent corner of just the 5 minutes it took for my 11-year-old son to figure out how to put headphones on. That was something. So for my parent corner, we watched the game with my son. I'm with my dad and my uncles. And then we went out and we're driving back and we're all talking about the game and we're listening to the NFL radios thing. And then Ben, what did you tell us out of nowhere?
The moon landing is fake.
Whoa.
The moon landing's fake, apparently, Sal. Why do you think, Ben? What happened?
Okay, I have a couple of reasons.
Okay.
So there was a famous rock on the moon. It was called the Sea Rock.
Yeah.
And basically it had a huge sea covered in it. What else can that mean? Production studio. They forgot to flip it over.
Okay.
It's a prop.
Okay. What was the other evidence you had?
Well, if you look closely into one of the astronauts' face thingies, it shows a production light.
Really? I didn't realize that. What was the thing you were saying about the flag?
Oh, it was moving and there's no gravity.
What do you mean the flag? Like the flag was waving like it was windy?
Yeah, it was waving.
The American flag was moving?
When they planted the flag on the moon?
Yeah.
These are all things you learned on YouTube?
Yes.
So now you believe them?
Yes.
So Sal, I bring this up because as you know, the fake news and all this stuff has become kind of a thing. I just wanted to show how it was affecting our 11-year-old. It's affecting the younger people.
It's
my
so
son
funny. YouTube recently came out and said they're not going to show like stunts, like people doing dangerous stunts, but they'll put things like the moon landing was fake on there. That's okay.
Also, the Earth is flat.
Now you're just messing with us.
No.
Okay. Now you're messing. No, come on. Now you're kidding.
Get out.
Now you're kidding.
Kyrie.
Come on. Wait, before you leave, what was it like? Who do you think was the craziest when we were watching the Patriots game today?
Bob.
Uncle Bob. What was Uncle Bob doing?
He was like, stupid call.
Yeah, he was like muttering to himself, right?
Yeah.
Did you think he was an insane person?
Yeah. He should have belonged in the movie Mom was watching with the Looney Home.
Oh, yeah. He probably should have.
Ben, I'm going to show you a clip of Robbie Coleman tackling Tommy Lee Lewis, and you tell me if the NFL is fake, okay?
Did you see the call before? Oh, no, he didn't see that. He was playing Fortnite.
All
Hey,
right.
before we go, here's the other parent corner. Do you want to tell Sal? No, do you want to tell Sal about what you're doing in WWE 2K19?
With my career?
Yeah. Give him a sample.
Oh, my career person, he's so stacked.
Yeah. Why is he stacked? Tell us about him.
He's like a powerhouse for wrestling. He's undefeated.
What'd you name him?
Chris Danger.
Chris Danger?
That's pretty good.
What's his gimmick?
He's a guy from the Indies that just got picked up from WWE that attacked NXT.
So you made all of his numbers as high as possible so then he would destroy everybody?
You have to earn them.
Oh, you have to earn them?
Yeah.
It's my career.
My career. Okay. So you're doing good with that.
But the moon landing was fake.
The moon landing.
Also, they paid off the referees in the football game. I swear.
I'm with you,
all
buddy.
right, now you have to go, Ben. Ben, thanks for being on Parent Corner.
You're welcome.
Ben, wait, who's winning the Royal Rumble?
Oh, yeah. Who's winning the Royal Rumble?
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, isn't that weird? He's favored to win the. Wasn't he like a jobber? Didn't he like lose to everybody 3 years ago?
But now he's actually good somehow.
Yeah.
They're giving him a push.
Or Strowman.
You could bet on this, by the way, and Drew McIntyre is the favorite to eliminate more competitors than anybody else. Yeah.
What happened to Braun Strowman? They just gave up on him?
He got suspended for breaking Vince's limo.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I think there was a production company behind that, but I'm not going to start any trouble.
True.
Ben, how many books did you read this week?
0.
All right, we got to work on that. Thanks for being on Parent Corner.
You're welcome.
So there you go, Sal.
There you go. Well, congratulations. You did it again, Bill.
The moon landing didn't happen,
No.
but the Patriots did make another Super Bowl.
Right.
That was not a conspiracy. Walk me through what the rest of your week's going to be like. So obviously you're going to talk about this on Lock It In.
Yep.
Are you ever going to make another joint bet with Clay Travis?
I don't know. I should have known then, like when Furman backed out, we got 2 losers. Basically, my nemesis. We're joining forces on this bet. I just wanted to win this game, and then I swear to God, I would have sold a little bit of it off. I would have been fine. But what do we do, Simmons? Do I break? You know what? I got to tell you, I have a really good feeling about Blue Gatorade.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna get it all back.
So you have not only Lock It In, but the Against All Odds podcast this week, and then next week we're gonna do Super Bowl props.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did we do that on your podcast or mine?
We'll have to figure it out. I don't remember what it was.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have a coin flip for it.
That'll be good. Yeah, you're doing good with those.
Sal, as always, good job by you.
Good job by you, Billy.
All right, before we go, just because my dad's in town, he's here. You're still awake somehow. It's like 1 o'clock East Coast time.
I'm so excited about that game. I can't go to sleep.
You acted pretty erratically down the stretch.
Well,
you stood up at one point. You were standing to my right, which you didn't do all game. I had to yell at you. You were moving around. You kept getting up. I didn't know what was going on with you. I thought you were actually, you and Uncle Bob, I thought you were losing your mind.
It was one of the strangest second halves. You know, the penalties on both teams, miscues, tip passes that ended up as interceptions. 39 seconds, we go ahead. We think the game's over, but with Mahomes.
And you're going, we scored too soon, and we're all like, shut up.
You
can't score too soon. We're down 4.
I know
we need
you
a touchdown.
It's that strange feeling that if maybe we should not score in the first down, but of course that's silly. You have to score right away.
Yeah.
But 39 seconds with Mahomes, if he needed a touchdown, it would have been different, but he only needed the 3 points. So that worried me. Worried everybody in the room.
Did you think Tom Brady still had it in him? You said some mean things about him this year during the regular season.
I don't remember saying any mean things about him. I thought
you were worried that he might be on the downside.
Well, that's true. I mean, everybody worried that he is on the downside. How can you maintain what he's accomplished over all the years he's played.
I think he fooled all of us.
Well, the last 4 games have been terrific. I thought the game last week against the Chargers, he was just outstanding. And I thought he was just as outstanding today. You know, he had the tip pass for the interception, and then he had that very strange throw where I just think he didn't see the defender when he was trying to go to Gronk in the end zone. But other than that, I thought he played a perfect game. You know, when we were riding home in the car, I didn't realize the Pats had over 500 yards of offense. The other team, they had under 300 yards. It feels like we should have won by 20 points.
Yeah, it definitely. I said to Sal, it feels like the right team won, but it certainly could have gone the other way too. But the Chiefs would have been 31 second half points. They definitely would have felt like they stole the game. I said to Sal, I was thinking about it, that was like the bastard cousin of the 2006 title game in Indianapolis, where it was like we had the game and then all of a sudden we didn't have it anymore.
Right.
And then they were just going to steal it. And it would have been, I think, just a horrible loss.
It would have been
how the hell did we blow this one?
Yeah, a devastating loss.
But now it's devastating for the Chiefs.
As you know, one of my brothers, Chuck, lives in Kansas City, and I just got an email from him, and all he could focus on was that 5-yard offside penalty.
Yeah,
because Brady had just thrown his 3rd interception.
Yeah.
Seemingly the game was over, and out of the blue, this guy gets the penalty. They show the replay. For some reason, he lined up, obviously, over the line.
Yeah.
And
well, it's D Ford is one of their best guys.
Yeah, one of their best guys. And we get another break and get a chance. And we got a couple of breaks, but Kansas City got a couple of breaks too. I mean, it kind of evened out.
I felt like it evened out.
Yeah, it evened out.
I don't know how Edelman didn't touch the ball, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we could recreate that with like the fucking Matrix and CGI.
As it turned out, that was not an important play because on the next play, Brady threw the interception. So that evened out anyway.
So when this all started with the snow game, which was 17 plus years ago, which I watched at your old house. Yep. I was still living in Boston, and now same coach, same QB. Yeah, and we're still going through the second decade.
It's amazing, and it's the same team. I was just reading on Facebook, I think on Friday, you predicted a Los Angeles Ram, New England Patriot Super Bowl rematch.
I did.
That's pretty special that we're going to get to play them again. Obviously, it's a slightly different team. It's not in St. Louis, but I just saw the line we're favored by 1.5, which really surprised me.
Well, we just talked about it. Sal said it started out Rams by 1, and then it flipped. It'll be Pats by 3 at game time, I bet.
You think so?
Yeah. It's got to be, right? Brady Belichick? Come on.
I would think so. I mean, we're not on the road. We're on a neutral court.
I have some questions for you before we go. Do you want to apologize to Rex Burkhead for anything you said about him in the first 2 hours of the game?
Well, yes. I'm sorry, Rex. I think I love you. I think you're a great ball player, and I'm sorry that I called you those terrible things in the first half.
Do you want to apologize to anybody on the defense? I guess not. We gave up 31 points the second half.
No, I think poor JC.
I'm on JC Island.
He had a horrible game.
A couple of those calls were bad.
He had a horrible game.
They had him guarding Travis Kelce. I mean, what did they think was going to happen? And he was all over the place.
I thought Gilmore played a great game. He had that one play, he gave up the long pass, but he kind of turned around and stopped and then had to pick up speed again.
Trey Flowers had some good moments.
Trey Flowers was terrific. Obviously, he's the kind of player that we're not going to pay, and we're going to lose him after the season. But he was great. Yeah.
Are we going to lose him after the season?
Yeah,
That's happening?
He'll be a free agent.
Oh,
They're never going to pay him. I will say one of the funny parts, we watched the game with a friend, Kevin Brady, and at one point at the beginning of overtime, he was sitting on the couch, and he had a blanket pulled over his head, except his eyes could see the TV. He was so nervous. He made me feel nervous.
Yeah.
And then my brother Bob was sitting behind me, who was mumbling the whole time. How could they score with 39 seconds left? How could that happen?
And Kyle just kept leaving for some reason. We don't know where he went. He just kept going outside. You'll never know where I was going. We don't know. We don't know what he was doing.
Well, my brother Don was also with us, and usually he's hiding under the bed, but he was pretty good this game.
He seemed heavily medicated though.
Yeah,
I think medicated by Sauvignon Blanc.
That white wine was flowing. Yeah.
It was over under Pat's touchdowns versus Sauvignon Blanc. It was quite a game. And then your grandson, I thought Ben really came through in the second half.
He came in the second half.
We bring him in almost like Rex Burkhead. For a change of pace.
Yeah,
change of pace for the living room.
Except I didn't say bad things about Ben in the first half.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah. But hey, we're going to the Super Bowl, the 9th time, 4th time in 5 years, 3rd year in a row in the Super Bowl. I mean, this is the era of parody. Roger Goodell sitting in the stands. He's mortified. He's angry.
Yeah.
He's devastated that the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. I love it. He's your friend. He's your friend, isn't he?
Roger Goodell?
No, I'm sorry. I got him mixed up with somebody.
This is the 4th Super Bowl in 5 years since the whole Deflategate thing started.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them win because I like the symmetry of 6 wins and only 3 losses. 5 wins and 4 losses doesn't have the same ring, right?
Plus, it's the same day as Robert Kraft's new girlfriend's 21st birthday. So it's going to be a raucous party.
I don't want to go there.
Does Kraft are you impressed? Like, he's older than you are.
I'm impressed. I
still got it going.
I can barely walk up the stairs, and I don't know how he's doing it.
Robert Kraft, legend. 25 years ago, he saved the team.
I should get those blood pills that he's using. But
what? We came really close to moving to Hartford.
We did. He saved the team.
That really almost happened. Or St. Louis was the other one that everybody forgets.
Runs a good organization. His sons seem to be doing well with the team. My only criticism is the example of Flowers probably leaving. Sometimes you have to pay that guy that really is.
But we make the Super Bowl every year with these guys that we've never heard of.
And we draft
J.C. Jackson, undrafted free agent, guarding Travis Kelce.
We draft terribly. Every year, you and I complain about the guys they draft.
And then we make the Super Bowl. It's amazing.
It's crazy. But we do have the GOAT. And he's still going strong. And, do you think now he probably can play 2 or 3 more years? I guess we don't need a quarterback.
I'm all in. He figured out how to use the regular season. I didn't see it in the time. I blame myself. I'm always going to regret it. But he clearly figured out how to use those 4 months to just kind of stay on the field
and not
take huge hits
and look at the last 4 games.
Yeah,
yep.
He looked. I mean, he missed some throws in the first half. I didn't think he was out of control great in the first half until that last throw for the to make it 14-0. Right. But second half he was on.
What was the stat? He was 13 for 19 on 3rd downs.
Yeah,
efficiency.
Competing 3 3rd and 10s on the same drive to win was
crazy.
Nuts.
Edelman, what a warrior. Gronk had a great game. Gronk had the kind of game we were talking about beforehand that if this is it for him, boy, he gave 110% today. And I hope it's not it. He has 1 more year in the contract. I hope he's here next year.
Yeah, no, Don doesn't. Don's not ready to say goodbye to Gronk. We got 1 more year with Gronk. I think they figured out now how to refigure what he does.
Right.
Make him a little bit more of a blocker and then kind of break him out of the garage every once in a while.
And they did that today.
Do that whole thing.
I mean, they only threw to him once last week, and he was a critical part of the passing offense today.
You don't like Sue. He's one of your least favorite guys.
He's dirty. He's a dirty player.
Bolton Bourbon Terrio again, Kyle. And Brandon Cooks, you've never forgiven him for trying to vault the eagle on the reverse in the Super Bowl last year.
It was a stupid football play, but
now we get revenge on him.
I think we could certainly use him on a team this year, but we missed that deep threat. You
think Todd Gurley's going to get his confidence back before the final game?
Oh, I was more hoping that injury he suffered today is going to linger for the next 3 weeks.
What's the injury?
I don't know, but I mean,
I think he injured his pride.
No, he was on the bike. So whenever you see the player on the bike, something tightened up for him.
Or it was a cover-up.
I hope it tightens up more.
Hope he's back healthy next year.
Yeah, he'll have a good year next year. It's tough for you, though, because you have your hometown team, the Rams, they're in the Super Bowl, against the Patriots. I mean, who do you root for?
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It'll be probably the Patriots.
Oh, you think?
I mean, everybody here in LA is so caught up with the Rams.
When we were driving home, I was amazed by all the people out on the streets.
Honking horns.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Driving around with the Rams flags.
And the Ram flags in the windows of cars and houses.
In a weird way, it plays in their favor, though, because they're better on the road or like at neutral fields because they don't really have a total home field advantage.
They played well. They played obviously well on the road today. So
I thought they deserved to win that game. Even though they almost didn't, but I actually thought the last 3 quarters, I just thought they played better.
Yeah, except all anybody is talking about is that missed penalty calls. So.
I was saying to Sal, we were trying to think of the other worst football calls of all time, and the Ben Dreeth Sugar Bear Hamilton call, which was like the worst.
Yeah,
the first terrible call of my childhood.
That was terrible,
but that wasn't even 40% as bad as the
call. No,
I
mean that call today. That's all we're going to hear about the next week or so. Yeah, particularly if you're obviously if you're a New Orleans fan.
Well, Dad, it was really fun to
it was fun to watch it.
Your brothers.
I'm glad both your teams made it.
Thanks. Thanks. I'll try to pick.
I like the Rams banner that you have in your living room. It's nice.
After I went the Pats Rams, the first Super Bowl, I remember when I was leaving, I bought, because they had the merchandise for both teams, and it was so fast how it turned out. They had everything up. And I bought this Rams Super Bowl champions cup with the T-shirt inside. And I brought it back. And I had the T-shirt for years. And then somebody threw it out or something. Yeah. And I had that cup too. And it was like my favorite possession. That this alternate universe where the Rams won the Super Bowl. But that's way up there for us. That was a top 4.
Oh, that and the 2004 Red Sox. Those are way up there, yeah.
Pats Atlanta was pretty great.
Pats Atlanta was great, but we had been there before.
Brady, by the way, 29th playoff win today.
Are you sure? I thought it was the 30th.
Is it 30th?
I thought he tied the record today.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Can't even
who knows?
Keep track.
He's way up there.
I think it's 29.
I think it was 29.
29th, okay.
30th would be the Super Bowl.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
With 13 bye weeks.
I like the fact that Belichick has these 2 weeks to prepare. Oh, that was the other stat I saw, that Belichick is, I think, 11-0 in the playoffs against first-year quarterback who are in the playoffs for the first time. And this will be true for the next game.
I remember in 2001 when Bledsoe was ready to play again after the Mo Lewis hit finally, and everyone in Boston was Brady or Bledsoe.
Well, you love Bledsoe. You had his jersey.
Yeah, but I switched to Brady almost immediately. But you were like, got to bring Bledsoe back. You can't lose your job with an injury. You were big on that corner for a while.
I do believe in that, but
you were like, it's the fair thing to do.
Right.
That was a mistake.
It's not the only one I've made, but it probably...
I did love Bledsoe.
Yeah.
But I think both of us had kind of started to come to the realization that it probably wasn't happening with him.
I'm not sure. I mean,
he's pretty flawed.
He went out with an injury. He was flawed.
Because Brady would come in and then he would do like that, the play action and like the crisp little wide receiver screens. And
the way that Garoppolo played 2 years ago.
Your guy Jimmy.
Yeah.
Do you want to apologize to Sony Michel?
I have a feeling
you wanted Lamar Jackson over him.
No, I
kind of did too.
That's not true. I wanted Lamar Jackson over the offensive lineman they took, not Sony Michel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a revisionist history. All right, Pats Rams. We'll have you on before the big game.
All right, Pats Rams. Looking forward to it.
You're flying back tomorrow. You're just going to watch the NFL Network and
hopefully replay the game. Flying back with Don and Bob tomorrow. It would have been such a depressing plane trip if we had lost. So we're excited. Hopefully American Airlines has a TV I can watch NFL Network. Maybe they'll have the game on again.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
All right. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks to Cousin Sal. Thanks to my dad. Thanks to ZipRecruiter. Don't forget to go to ZipRecruiter.com. patreon.com/BS. Thanks to the rewatchables. Don't forget, The Fast and the Furious is coming this week, midnight, Monday. You have that one to look forward to. Don't forget about TheRinger.com, the Ringer Podcast Network, all the great football coverage we have this week. We are sending a bunch of people to the Super Bowl. That's going to be fun. NBA trade deadline is coming up in a couple weeks, and we are dealing with that too. I'm coming back on Tuesday. We have Jack Dorsey, the guy who not only created Twitter, but now came back and now he runs Twitter. He's the CEO. We talked to him. We'll do some basketball stuff. We have a whole bunch of stuff in the works next week. So until then, go Pats.